Hello and welcome to Southall TV. You are watching What's Up London with Rowdy Farooqi and
NAMRATA DHINGRA here. We welcome all our viewers to the show. If you're just tuning in, you can tune in at southaltv.com or facebook.com/Southall Television, spelled out. And the number is, if you would like to call the studio today, because we have a very interesting lineup of programs for you. So if you'd like to call us, the number is 0208 707 3227.
Absolutely. And basically, as we discussed last week, we will be talking about more towards election and towards the manifestos and the policies and the pledges of most of the parties. I wouldn't say every party because, funny enough, as we discussed last time, not every party actually is taking part. Especially in West London, Green Party has kind of pulled out of the race due to. Actually, I think it'll be a good idea when we will talk about it when we actually get to that subject. But one very important thing which I would like to actually address here is in today's program we have basically 4 very important interviews for you. Different candidates from local areas, they will be talking about their policies, their pledges, and they will basically let you know from their own mouth what they are up to, what they're all about, and what they stand for. So
I think we've had a very interesting last week.
Yes,
lots
absolutely.
of events have unfolded, and pledges are out, policies are, the manifestos are out, especially from the Tory party, the Labour, and there is, it's been all over the newspapers, articles, magazines, all that kind of sort of thing. Today we are going to try and have a little bit of more, open out these arguments, open out a little, not all of them perhaps, but just perhaps the NHS and maybe a couple of others, and just talk about it. Okay? Actually मैं हिंदी में बोलना चाहती हूँ. Sorry, I'm sorry viewers, I will just change to हिंदी. तो हमारा मतलब ये है कि हम यहाँ से थोड़े मतलब अपने जो भी NHS के बारे में थोड़ी चर्चा करेंगे यहाँ पर, और वो जो मतलब कि ये सारे जो मैनिफेस्टो आ रहे हैं, ये हमारे डायस्पोरा के लिए मतलब क्या महत्व रखता है और इसके पीछे क्या है, थोड़ा हम एनालिसिस कोशिश करेंगे, और बाकी हमारे व्यूअर्स के ऊपर होगा कि जिस तरह से वो चाहते हैं वो ले सकते हैं. आप फ़ोन भी कर सकते हो और हमसे बात भी कर सकते हो, या facebook.com पे आप अपने कमेंट्स भी छोड़ सकते हो.
And that's one very important point here कि जो Facebook है, because Facebook Live has changed the world in a way of media and how we actually get our media and information. So if you want to comment on anything on this program, whatever we'll talk about, feel free to do so. And basically this is a platform which is very neutral and very open for everyone. So my advice or my request in a way, so that you actually take part as much as you can. So if we're making any mistakes or if we're getting anything right, then we can actually correct it.
और वो भी ज़्यादा इंटरैक्टिव होगा, तो हम हिंदी में भी बोल सकते हैं, पंजाबी में भी कोशिश करेंगे, उर्दू में भी आप लोगों से बात कर सकते हैं. तो आप प्लीज़ इसका मौका का फ़ायदा लीजिए और हमें कोई भी भाषा में आप सवाल कर सकते हैं और हम कोशिश करके आपको इनके जवाब देंगे, या हम अपने रिपोर्टर से बेहतरीन जवाब आपके लिए नेक्स्ट वीक पहुंचा सकते हैं. तो मतलब कि ये जो हफ्ता रहा है काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग रहा है. पिछले हफ्ते जैसे हम लोग ने बताया था आपको कि हम ये प्रोग्राम एरिया वाइज करेंगे, लेकिन इतने इंटरेस्टिंग हैं पॉलिसीज़ का डिबेट, तो हमने सोचा कि हम यही पॉलिसीज़ के ऊपर इस हफ्ते भी हम बात करेंगे, मतलब जनरली जो पार्टी पॉलिसीज़ होंगी. और मतलब हम ये भी
we do have actually, Namrata, we do have some area wise interviews and policies as well. Basically what original idea was what we discussed last week, कि हम एक वीक में एक वेस्ट लंदन का एरिया लेंगे, फॉर एग्जांपल ईलिंग एक वीक ले लिया, एक वीक हेस्टन हाउस ले लिया, लेकिन the way everything is coming together actually is in a way is very interesting, because what happened, we as we mentioned last week, that we are not getting any response from Conservative Party, and in fact Lib Dems are taking lead in contacting Southall TV. But the good thing about it is that we actually have managed to get one Conservative candidate on the camera, and of course you will hear his views on his policies and his pledges from his own words. But the most important thing which I want to mention here is that we thought we will only be able to cover one week, one West London area, but we have two today. So that's we'll cover two areas. South, of course, Southall TV. So Southall was the must. So we'll start from Southall, and then we'll move on to Feltham and Heston, and hopefully next week we'll have Brent and Hounslow and all, and of course we'll try to get Ealing side of things as well, which we tried to do this week, but we didn't get around it. I didn't get a chance to actually book any interviews, so we'll hopefully bring you those next week.
So would you like to start with the interview first, so then we can let our viewers watch it and then come back to us?
I think that's a very good idea, Namrata, because first thing is one thing is we talk about it.
Hanji.
Second thing is actually they talk about
Hanji.
it themselves. So I'm going to start, of course, from Southall, and I'm going to start with the Conservative candidate.
I think that's a very good idea, Rowdy. I think you go for it.
Yeah. So basically, Mr. Doctor, that's very important thing actually. It's Dr. Fabio Conti. We've spoken to him. Our actually presenter, Sarah Santosh, interviewed him yesterday, and I think we'll let you decide what you think of what he has to say about himself. But before I'll play you that video, let me apologize in advance for the wind and noise, because we met him in a park in Henwell, and there was very windy yesterday, so you may find sometimes wind a bit of a distraction, but his point is as clear as anything. So let's hear it.
Hello, here today I'm with Dr. Fabio Conti, who is the Conservative candidate for Ealing and Southall. Hello, Fabio, thank you so much for meeting me. It's a pleasure to meet with you. So what are your key policy and pledges that you will be campaigning for in the run-up to the general election?
So obviously, standing as a Conservative candidate, across the country, we're all really standing to ensure that Theresa May gets re-elected for the strong and stable leadership that that she is promising for this country. Because over the next few years, there's some really important things ahead. So Brexit's going to dominate the political discussion over the next couple of years, and we need a leader who is going to lead us into those negotiations and be able to negotiate the best deal for Britain. And then after that, to actually implement it and ensure, that we follow the right course as we move forward.
And the other thing is that within this particular constituency, there is a very strong Labour sort of hold on it. So what are you going to be doing personally in order to ensure that people are voting for you on June the 8th?
I think you're right. I think this constituency has been dominated by one party for 50 years, and it's a real challenge. And I think what's important is that we get our opportunity to put our message out there, and it's Southall. It's a really exciting and interesting community. It's a real melting pot of the world, with lots of people from lots of different places, with lots of different backgrounds, and it's about working with these communities, going out there, visiting the religious institutions, for example, talking to people on the doorstep, putting our thoughts across about some of the problems that we have here in Ealing and Southall and Hanwell, where we are today in Elthorne, and looking at how as a community, bringing people together, we can solve those problems.
And in recent sort of elections, the Conservative Party, they did extremely well. They sort of managed to actually gain some of the Labour seats. And then we had the leaked manifesto from the Labour Party. And initially when it came out, people were starting to sort of change their viewpoint about Labour. They were sort of thinking, well, maybe this could work. So do you think that the Conservative, even though currently in the elections that we had before, they did very well, do you think they can still retain that popularity moving forward?
I think what's really important is no one's complacent, because no one really knows what's going to happen. You look at recent elections, whether it's the EU referendum last year, the election of Donald Trump, for example, in America. There are things people said that would never happen, and they happened. So, I think you can't trust polls, you can't trust, what, the media often speculate about what's going to happen. And I think what people really need to think about is, you mentioned the Labour manifesto. It's a manifesto that makes a lot of claims, not everything that's costed. And, what people have to think about on the 8th of June when they go to the ballot box is that, over the next 5 years, who do you want to lead this country? When, the British Prime Minister goes to Brussels to negotiate on the behalf of Britain, who's going to stand up for Britain? Who do you think is going to have credibility and the persistence and the tenacity to get the best deal for Britain? And is that the strong and stable leadership of Theresa May, or is that Jeremy Corbyn? I think that's what people need to think about in the ballot box on the 8th of June.
And I know, sort of going on from that about Theresa May and the Brexit campaign, she has led a very hard-hitting Brexit campaign, and I know particularly that some of the other parties are thinking that the way she's going in is possibly not the best way. Do you think that Theresa May is the best leader to take the Conservative Party forward if you win the general election?
I think Theresa May is by far the best person to take this country forward. I think what she's shown over, the year or just under the year that she's been leading the party and been the Prime Minister is that, she's strong and she has a party that's united behind her. You look at the Labour Party today. Since Jeremy Corbyn was elected the first time to be leader of the Labour Party, they've had disunity, they've had reruns of their, leadership elections, and he doesn't even really command the support and the authority from his own members of parliament. So when you actually want someone who's standing up for Britain, actually who do you want? Do you want someone who can't control or gather the support within his own party, or the leader who has proved over the last year that she'll say what she does, she'll stick to it, and that she has the strong backing of her party behind her? And I think that's what's really important, and the credibility moving forward, in those negotiations is crucial. And you mentioned about Brexit and Theresa May, leading us through that. I think so far, she said that, initially, she campaigned to remain within the European Union. She took on the leadership of this party, she took on the leadership of the country and enacted Article 50 as she said she would, and now is looking for a mandate to deliver on what the British people voted for last year.
Okay, brilliant. It's been such a pleasure to meet with you, and thank you so much for taking the time out, because I know you're very busy because you're a doctor as well in the NHS. I wish you all the best for June the 8th, and I hope it goes well. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that was Dr. FAROOQI on his pledges and his policies. Basically, it's amazing in a way that he's a newcomer and he is a doctor himself. So I think he sounds a bit different from the usual, conservative candidates. What do you think?
I think so, yeah. I'd like to just move this slightly towards the Conservative manifesto now, because he was talking about Theresa May as well, and they basically want to increase the NHS spending by a minimum of 8 billion in real terms over the next 5 years. हम ये कंपेयर भी कर सकते हैं लेबर के साथ और लिब डेम्स के साथ, और लिब डेम्स जो कहते हैं वो कहते हैं कि 1 pence राइज होगा इनकम टैक्स में. तो मतलब हर पार्टी अलग-अलग स्कीम्स या अलग-अलग प्लेजेस सेम NHS के अलग-अलग वेज से ये लोग बोल रहे हैं. मतलब एक तो कह रहे हैं कि लेबर्स कह रहे हैं कि हम NHS पे स्क्रैप करेंगे, तो आप समझ सकते हो इनसे कि
जो कैप है जो
पे कैप वो मतलब वो स्क्रैप करेंगे, और वो चाहते हैं कि 30 बिलियन एक्स्ट्रा फंडिंग हो. लेकिन ये मतलब कहने का मतलब है कि ये बिलियंस जो बातें कर रहे हैं ये कहाँ से आएंगे? मतलब ये हाउ आर दे एग्जैक्टली. तो हमारी इकोनॉमी मतलब कितना जनरेट करती है ओवर द नेक्स्ट 10 years, कितना मतलब यहाँ पर जितना कम मार्केट में वॉलेटिलिटी इज लेस एंड द इकोनॉमी स्ट्रॉन्ग हो तो ये पॉलिसीज ईजिली सस्टेन हो सकते हैं. बट इन द रियल वर्ल्ड ये सब बातें नहीं होती हैं, और ये सब हमें हम रिमेंबर करना पड़ता है.
I think the big question here is there anyone who's talking about how they're gonna bring that money in? Because I can see Labour is talking about raising 30 billions, or and only thing I can see is 1p rise, but Lib Dem is talking about that kind of making sense in terms of that they're not just talking about spending that much amount, but they're also talking about how they're going to raise that amount.
और इस पे भी मेरे ख्याल से काफ़ी उन्होंने बताया है मीडिया ने कि ये चाहते हैं कि they are going to borrow more. और प्रॉब्लम ये कंट्री का है कि the Labours and the Lib Dems इनको ज़्यादा बोरोइंग करके ये लेना है, मतलब इन इकोनॉमी सस्टेन करने के लिए. बिकॉज हमारी जो इकोनॉमी है, आई मीन जब से कंजर्वेटिव आई है पावर में, आप सब समझते हो कि हमें सिर्फ ऑस्टेरिटी और लैक ऑफ फंडिंग मतलब नहीं आ रहा है जितना आना चाहिए. तो ये लोग कहते हैं कि हम इस तरह से पॉलिसी करेंगे, लेकिन कंजर्वेटिव की पॉलिसी एकदम अलग है, या अलग होगी आगे जाके इलेक्शन के बाद जब ये पॉलिसीज बनेंगे. तो ये देखना है कि अभी कौन सा मतलब कैंडिडेट क्या मतलब उनका क्या ईच एजेंडा क्या है, बिकॉज यहाँ पर दो चीजें चल रही हैं, एक तो मतलब एक तो लोकल लेवल पे चलता है और एक तो होता है कि नेशनल जो उनके लीडर्स कह रहे हैं, तो एक तरह से एक पॉलिटिकल फेटिशिज्म भी यहाँ पर है, मतलब कि कौन से प्लेजेस वहाँ से आ रहे हैं, जैसे कि टेरेसा मे ने 88 पेज का मैनिफेस्टो रिलीज किया है अभी हाल ही 2-3 दिन पहले, तो आप समझ सकते हो कि मतलब कि ये हर पार्टी वोटर्स को टारगेट कर रही है और हमें ये बताना है अपने डायस्पोरा व्यूअर्स को जो यहाँ पर हैं वेस्ट लंदन में या पूरे इंग्लैंड में या जहाँ भी हो कि ये पॉलिसीज़ और ये मतलब कि वोटिंग किस तरह से किस डायरेक्शन में और कितना इम्पॉर्टेंट है कि हमें जो हमारा वोट है वो एकदम राइट एक बैलेंस होवे, मतलब कोई तो होवे पार्लियामेंट में, तो अगर एक ही पार्टी जीतेगी आउटराइट से तो मतलब वो लोग वो हाँ वही कर सकेंगे। और कहने का मतलब है कि जो नवा सोशल पॉलिसी आया है, जैसे मैंने आपको राउडी जी अभी बताया था प्रोग्राम के पहले, उसका मतलब इट इज मेरे को तो एकदम स्ट्रेंज है कि दे आर कैपिंग £100,000 ऑफ इनहेरिटेंस मनी इफ दे विन। इसका मतलब ये है कि जो हमारे डायस्पोरा कम्युनिटीज हैं और जो जॉइंट फैमिलीज में रहते हैं और या तो उनके जो अपने जो हमारे कल्चर्स है पाकिस्तानी हिंदू या जो भी हमारे अलग सॉर्ट ऑफ कल्चर्स हैं, हम एक जॉइंट फैमिली में रहते हैं।
It's like a very generic kind of decision for everyone.
हाँ, ये यूनिवर्सल पॉलिसीज है और ये यूनिवर्सल पॉलिसीज काम आगे जाके काम करेंगी कि नहीं ये पता नहीं, लेकिन ये सब बातें हमें अब हर ईच वन जो ये लोग कहते हैं कि हम पेंशनर्स को टारगेट करें जो अमीर हैं, वो सब बातें ठीक है, लेकिन जिसके घर मिलियन पाउंड्स हो या 1.5 मिलियन, और हमारी जो कम्युनिटी है यहाँ पर बहुत हार्ड वर्क किया है इन्होंने और मतलब बच्चों के लिए मतलब आगे जाके फ्यूचर सिक्योर हो, लेकिन अब ये सब ओवरटर्न होगा, मतलब एक दूसरा फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग इन लोगों को करना पड़ेगा। तो ये सब बातें हम नहीं कह सकते हैं कि अब क्या होने वाला है आगे इलेक्शंस के बाद, बट हाँ जी प्लीज आप ये सब ध्यान दीजिए कि जो आप देख रहे हो पढ़ रहे हो उसके पीछे एक्चुअली एनालिसिस थोड़ा करना चाहिए कि ये हमारे ऊपर किस तरह से इम्पैक्ट करेगा।
एब्सोल्युटली। और आई थिंक नम्रता एक चीज़ और भी है कि इस सारे मुद्दे में बेसिकली अगर हम देखें तो जो वोटर है एंड में आके तो झेलना तो वोटर को पड़ेगा
जी, प्रेशर तो वोटर पे है,
प्रेशर तो वोटर पे, एंड स्पेशली व्हेन इलेक्शंस आर एक्चुअली जस्ट so short notice for people to make their mind.
तुसी पंजाबी में गल करो ना, speak in Punjabi, you got such a lovely Punjabi accent as well. I can't speak.
अच्छा नहीं मैं एक्चुअली no that's fine, मैं इस करके मैं एक्चुअली थोड़ा इंग्लिश गल कर रहा था कि आज सारे को मोस्टली जो इंटरव्यूज है वो सारे इंग्लिश है और मेरे ख्याल है शायद आई वाज होपिंग कि जिन्होंने इंटरव्यूज है वो भी शायद देखेंगे प्रोग्राम में और they if they would like to add something or comment on something so they will have a chance, otherwise if they would not understand. पर एक ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬੜੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ पे ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਕਹਿ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵੋਟ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਵਨ ਆਫ ਯੂਰ ਮੋਸਟ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ੀਅਸ ਐਸੈਟ ਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ before you go out and spend and stamp on any or vote for any party, basically it's better to know what they're offering and or ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉੱਪਰੋਂ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਕਲਰ ਨਜ਼ਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਦਿਖਾਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ come nahi banda, you have to look down, look deeper, or you have to see what exactly going on in the background. So I think there are certain issues which you just mentioned. The inheritance issue for Asian community is very important because the whole, I think it's the 4th generation of Asian or diaspora actually as now teenagers. So their forefathers have worked so hard and worked their whole life to actually build that
little portfolio, yeah, मतलब जो भी
if you want to call it wealth, they worked hard for that. They worked hard for those properties so they can leave those properties and leave all the money to their next generation. So if it's gonna go away, because I've heard I can't remember exactly, I think it was online that some carer, a professional carer nurse who called one of the radio stations and she was talking about it and she cried. She actually broke down on a conversation because she said once my mother passed away I'll be homeless.
See, these are the things that I mean, अगर हम यहाँ पर मतलब कहने का मतलब है, अगर हम अपने एक जो भी कैंडिडेट को हम वोट देते हैं, लेकिन अगर वही आगे जाके उसका गवर्नमेंट नहीं बनता है, या उसके मतलब 20%, 30% या 40% भी मेजॉरिटी नहीं हो, तो मतलब कि जो भी विनिंग पार्टी है वो तो कुछ भी कर सकती है अंदर, मतलब कि एक दफा हमें 320 या 400 जो भी यस वोट्स चाहिए, अगर वो हमें मिलते हैं, तो कहने का मतलब है कि प्लीज हर कोई इस टाइम अपना वोट जो है ध्यान से दीजिए, अपनी जो आप उनके प्लेजेस और पॉलिसीज, बिकॉज वो तो हमें ओपनली बता रहे हैं कि हम ये करने वाले हैं और वो करने वाले हैं, तो ऑलरेडी वी नो अबाउट इट, सो वी हैव टू टेक द प्रिकॉशन नाउ।
आई थिंक एक चीज और भी है, आई थिंक आई वांट टू मेक इट very 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 clear at this point that our community, especially Asian community, tends to sometimes vote for people rather than their policies. Asi vote dende aaye, so if this person is running, then we have to vote him, doesn't matter, or her, doesn't matter कि उन्होंने policies की हैं. कई बारी मैं ये भी देखा है कि people don't even bother to check कि जी उन्होंने same policies हैगी हैं जो last time सी change हो गई हैं. So they just vote, okay, this person is running, so let's vote for that person. And I think it's about time that we need to start looking into even जो लोग की पहली बार नहीं खड़े, उस तो पहला भी रन कर चुके हैं या विन कर चुके हैं, स्पेशली थोड़ा सा उन्होंने भी चेक करना चाहिए कि उन्होंने पीछे की था, और नाउ if they're offering something new, what it is, or they're talking about doing exactly the same thing. So if it suits you, and if you say yes, what they're doing is absolutely fine, then go ahead, vote for him. Or if you think that no, it's not what we originally voted for, or if not this is not what we're looking for, then of course then you need to reconsider your options. So basically इसे नोट में I'll think it's time I'll play another interview for people out there, because Southall is very, for us, we are Southall TV, so Southall is a very important for us, because that's where we are, that's where we work, and most of the
और हमारी जो वेस्ट लंदन कम्युनिटी है, आई मीन जो मल्टी कल्चरल, हाँ एक कैपिटल है, ग्लोबल कैपिटल वेस्ट लंदन है. आई मीन एनीबडी वांट्स टू डू बिजनेस फ्रॉम पंजाब, फॉर एग्जांपल पंजाबी में यहाँ पर इंग्लैंड में इजीली कर सकते हैं, यू नो, मैंने देखा है पाकिस्तानी भी करते हैं,
Punjabi is a very common thing before is above and beyond religion. So basically we our presenter Sarah Santosh, again, she spoke to Southall, I would say now candidate, I was going to say MP, but he's not MP anymore, he's a candidate. So basically he's been MP for last I think 10 years or so.
Okay.
And
is it Virendra Sharma?
Yeah, Mr. Virendra Sharma.
He's standing for Southall and Ealing.
Southall and Ealing, yes.
So
and he basically Dr. Fabio Conti is actually standing against him. So
we'll have a मतलब कि हमें दोनों बार,
we just played Dr. Fabio Conti's interview, and everyone heard what he had to say. Now just listen to what Mr. Virendra Sharma is talking about, and I think in a way, okay, I don't want to be biased here, I don't want to show any affection for anyone.
No.
I really not want to be neutral here, but I have to say, when you see this interview, the experience does show that if you've been into the game for long, it does show that kind of, you know what.
Correct. मतलब कि आप जानते हो कि policies या Westminster की होता है, and how you go around, you know, practical experience is sometimes more important than academic knowledge, even, I would say.
Absolutely. So let's see what Mr. Virendra Sharma had to say about his policy, his pledges, and then we'll talk further about it.
Hello Virendra, lovely to meet you again. So you're representing the constituency of Ealing and Southall. So what are your key policies and pledges at this time in campaigning for the general election?
First is the party policies, and I'm following those policies, and also then include some local issues. The most important for us is, which is different from the present government. The present government wants to make the election campaign on Brexit issue. We wanted Brexit along with national health services, education, housing, welfare, social care. We wanted to include those policies and the future selection of the society. What kind of society we want to see. So we want to make those policies together. These are the national policies. Then the local issues, which working with the local authority and other institutions like the Ealing Hospital, National Health Service locally, Ealing Council, the local police, for cleanliness, wherever is the crime coming up, making sure that the unsocial element is properly controlled, children are given the better education, social services are looked after, the children have the benefit of the better education and nursery classes, working along with the local authorities. So these are the policies and these are the campaigning issues I'm working on with my colleagues and other people.
So I know that you touched on about sort of the local issues that you wanted to work on alongside the main sort of party policies and pledges. But we know that Southall is a very multicultural community. So as sort of if you were re-elected, how can you ensure that Southall maintains that multiculturalism, and how are you going to ensure that the community continues to work together?
We have always worked together. I'm in the British politics for 45 years. So I always maintain that view that we are the British politicians and it should not be looking at any other than the communities living here in Britain to work together. I will make sure that that kind of a cohesionness, making sure that everybody have equal rights, making sure that everybody have his speaking rights, everybody have the opportunities to promote their own faith in their own communities rather than imposing on each other. So I will be working with the local faith groups, local community groups, making sure that kind of ill feelings are not created, but keep that relationships which we had maintained for over 60 years in West London, particularly in Southall.
And how confident are you that you're going to be re-elected as a sort of Labour Party member?
I never said that I'm confident. I rely on the support of the public. They have given me a lot of support throughout my political life. I was elected as councillors before, then now a member of parliament for over 10 years. So now I'm as a candidate, which I'm sure that I will come back. I have the good faith in the community. I'm also confident that they will look at me, who is accessible, live locally. My children, grandchildren live locally. They go to the local school. So I understand the difficulties local families, local parents feel having it. As I said, that my grandchildren goes to the local schools, so it means that I know the distance of the schools when the brother and sisters given the places into two different schools, how difficult it is to the parents to maintain that the one child goes to one school and the other is 3 miles away. So I know those difficulties because I have gone through it. And I do raise those issues. Again, the flying tippings in the area, that fly tipping is also an issue which we have to look at. And these issues cannot be addressed on its own. We cannot rely on the local authority alone. It's a partnership between the local elected members, the Ealing Council, along with the public. If they all work together to make sure that fly tipping is not taking place, where the people are throwing the rubbish around is not allowed, how best we can deal with those issues so that we can have a clean environment. And I will be working with the local communities. So that's why I feel confident that my past record of working together, I will maintain that in the future as well.
And I wish you all the best of luck for June the 8th. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, this was Mr. Virendra Sharma, and as I said, you can tell the experience there because he's been into this game for, as he just said in the interview, that
काफी time से वो मतलब
basically he was councillor
हाँ जी.
before, and I think a couple of times he was councillor, and then he is, since then he's MP. Now, basically, he was talking about specific Southall issues like fly tipping and the schools and all that. So that kind of shows that kind of
he knows उनको pulse है मतलब लोगों के
yes, exactly.
जो pulse है इस area
exactly
के हाँ जी
and but I think Namrata, what important thing for me is we asked him a question about the diversity of Southall and because it's a melting pot of different cultures but I have to say I mean fair enough he's being into the game for long enough and fair enough that actually he wins and he still stands a huge chance of winning again but the answer he gave sounded a bit summed up to me not as specific as the other answers because he's talking about we always do this we always combine but
my thinking is this that
there are specifics there.
I get what you're saying but my thinking is that the whole media is changing like I mean for example think about Southall television be asking those kind of questions so now matlab, they are getting ready that even our local I mean our ethnic channels वो questions ask पूछ सकते हैं जो बड़े मीडिया चैनल्स पहले तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं था ना मतलब कि पहले कोई नहीं था यहाँ पर के जाके उन्हें उनसे बातें करे और एक डिस्कनेक्ट था लाइक आप समझ सकते हो कि हमारे जो डायस्पोरा है एमपीज है और जो वेस्टमिंस्टर में जो हो रहा है एक डिस्कनेक्ट था और जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले भी बोला कि एक नवा काइंड ऑफ इंडियन एलिटिज्म यहाँ पर लंदन में वेस्टमिंस्टर में हो यू नो हैज इज बीइंग कल्टिवेटेड काफ़ी लोग काफ़ी प्रोग्राम्स हो रहे हैं हमारे इंडियन डायस्पोरा के यू नो पाकिस्तानी के लाइक जो भी सब कॉन्टिनेंट के हैं तो एक मतलब एक तरह से ये डायलॉग्स भी नेसेसरी हैं ये डिस्कोर्स भी नेसेसरी है और ये एक ओपनिंग अप ऑफ नवा मीडियम है नवा चैनल है और एक काइंड ऑफ इनकरेजमेंट है कि जो दूसरे लोग देख रहे हैं प्रोग्राम्स यंगर जनरेशन को और वो भी मतलब कुछ पब्लिक सर्विस करना चाहते हैं तो यू नो दे विल देन अंडरस्टैंड कि मीडिया का किस तरह से रिस्पांस देना चाहिए या प्रेसेस क्या होती हैं
एक चीज स्पेशली ना Namrata because the reason we specifically asked Mr. Sharma about this question the reason for that is at the moment I'm seeing in Southall area especially but in Western in general the awareness in communities जो different religious level तभी हम अगर communities को कह लो कि for 1 minute I don't like to use the word divide but if we or segregate but एक point अगर हम देख लें so what I'm seeing is the community on the I mean generally Southall communities are very aware of these things now anyway but what I'm noticing in this election, the communities individually are becoming aware of their own representations as well. For example, I 100% have this information. The Sikh community wants their
form to
representative of Sikh nation, and because even though yes, anyone can represent anyone, because it's a British communities, but they are now thinking, and it's not just limited to Sikh community. I think Pakistani community is looking into this kind of thing as well. They are thinking that okay, if we have a Sardar, for example, Sikh community, a Sardar, not just someone who's born into a Sikh family, someone who has a proper Sikh attire and understanding of Sikh religion, and if that person goes into parliament, he or she would probably be more as in inclined
towards his own community. You know, hats off to you, Rowdy. You know, you're raising some brilliant points here, and I hope our viewers are getting the message. I'm completely in agreement. I give you an example about, you know, we had this Olympic Games here, and I was, you know, one of the volunteers as the games maker, as you call it. And मैं ये मुद्दा ज़रूर, I mean, I want to bring it out because हमें बुलाया गया था एक गेट टुगेदर के लिए कि पीटी उषा आई थी लेकिन सिर्फ वही ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लोग थे कोई मतलब मिलाप नहीं था कि आप अगर यू नो तमिल हो या हिंदू हो या यू नो जो भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से आप हो गो इन हो या मतलब अलग अलग देयर इज नो सिंक्रोनाइजेशन तो हमारा यही मोटिव है और हमारा यही मकसद है इस चैनल के थ्रू के ये माध्यम के थ्रू कि हम एक सॉलिडारिटी यू नो हाँ क्योंकि एक बैलेंस कम्युनिटी का जो हो रहा है कोई भी छोटे मुद्दे हो सकते हैं तो हम इस माध्यम से हल भी कर सकते हैं
और उसमें जो मेन सबसे बड़ी बात है अभी if you look at it जितना होना even though it's outside the scope of Southall TV in a West Slough but still comes in the west side of London so I would include that Tan Manjeet Tesi is running and I think it's the first time a Sikh
British Sikh, is it a British Indian Sikh? I'm not sure, but yeah.
Who
has a very good chance of
winning. And of course, he's born here, he studied here, so he understands the issues of his community and the community at large as well, but his community, and this is something which is I'm actually noticing in this election, that the awareness is there, which was not there before, and I don't know if it's a good thing or if it's a bad thing, because again, it's a good thing that actually certain communities are getting, if they win, their communities will be represented in parliament as well. However, the bad thing is if someone wins in their constituency and kind of put too much effort into their own community and ignores everyone else, that's going to be a problem.
I'm so glad that you're bringing out these points on this program today, and this is a very important issue, because ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ public service ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ. Public service एक community ਦੀ help नहीं है. Public service है ਤੁਸੀਂ कोई भी जात हो, black हो, white हो, untouchable हो, dalit हो, या whatever you are. You are doing a public service for the whole entire community, for the whole location, for the whole area, not by segregating each other. So here, I mean, this is
it's double-edged sword. We do, I mean, those certain communities, like for example, I think actually in the next interview you'll hear that we have a Lib Dems candidate from Feltham and Heston. And she's a again British but Muslim, and she even mentioned that one of the largest population in Hounslow area is Muslims, and she said there was no representation, especially for Muslim women who, you know, for them to have business opportunities and opportunities of work and all that. So one of part of her policies is that. So I think on this note, let's hear what she has to say, and then we'll talk about it in further, because I think this is something very interesting happening, from my point of view, that communities individually are actually looking into having their own representatives in parliament, which can be a good thing because those communities will be represented, but at the same time it can be a bad thing, because this can also mean that other communities will be neglected by those
But
people.
Also to be saying that it affects votes.
Yes.
If you give a general message out, your capture of the voting will be a much bigger, net. Exactly. You'll have a bigger net.
So
basically.
I think let's hear what Hina Malik from Feltham and Heston Lib Dems has to say about her pledges and policies.
Hello, so here today I'm with Hina Malik, who is the Liberal Democrat candidate for Feltham and Heston. Hello Hina, lovely to meet you. So first of all, my first question would be, what are your key policy and pledges that you'll be campaigning for in the run-up to the general election?
As a Liberal Democrat, we believe that we need to be investing in our future, in our youth. So especially fighting against the funding cuts that government has introduced, and it's the biggest funding cuts that people will see for generations. So the key pledge for this general election 2017 Liberal Democrat manifesto was that we will be investing £6 billion in education. And what does it mean for Feltham and Heston? It means that there will be £35 million available extra for the school funding here that we will be reinvesting into Feltham and Heston. That means 193 more teachers, more resources, because right now Hounslow, I feel that they have crowded classes, and they've been taught by stressed teachers, and because of these funding cuts. And I am a passionate teacher myself, and being part of the mainstream education, I have seen the effects of those cuts in the mainstream teaching. We are totally against where the government is putting all their resources or money in building more grammar schools, where we'll think all the children should have quality education. It should not be access to few, but it should be access to all of them. So this is what we will be fighting and campaigning for.
Okay, and so at the moment, for your particular constituency, you're up against Seema Malhotra for Labour and also Samir Jassal for the Conservatives. And this particular seat has been held by Labour for sort of many years. What are your chances of winning, do you think, when you're up against two very sort of strong candidates?
I know the fight will be tough, but I believe the Labour has been very complacent in this constituency. They are taking our communities for granted, and because I have lived in this area and I'm living for the last 20 years. So I have seen there are absolutely no provision made for the youth engagement programs in this area, which I am really passionate about and I will be campaigning for. And our community women, South Asian women, are completely neglected. There is absolutely no place for them to do the social gathering. And this is a special community need that should have been addressed. And even when I stood as my council by-election last year, I was campaigning for that. I feel that this is the time the people should make informed choices instead of just voting for Labour because it's a very Labour area. They need to look at the policies and who will be offering them the best, the pledges, and who will be working hard for them. And then if you put another party candidate in an MP seat, I think that will do really good for Feltham and Heston, because you have a Labour council, you have a Labour MP, and they're complacent. You need a strong voice, a person like me, to come and sit on the top and start challenging them, making them work for you. So I'm hoping, I come from a diverse Muslim background. The biggest community in Hounslow is Muslim. It's the first time ever a Liberal Democrat has put a Muslim representation in the community, trying to address the need of the biggest community living. I will be working for all communities, rest assured, but I could project the real needs of this underrepresented community in the parliament. And the other pledge that I will be campaigning for is obviously the investment in NHS right now, because you can see NHS in crisis because the Labour government did not play their part, and they gave a blank check to Theresa May to do whatever they liked, and this is why we are in the crisis. Whereas we are saying that we will be investing, and we've got a proper formula. We will be charging the 1 penny on the tax for individuals, and then we can generate that £6 billion extra funding for NHS. And in terms of my local Feltham and Heston in Hounslow, we will be investing about 18 million into NHS and 6.1 million into the social care. And also we recognize the importance that the mental health needs to be addressed. So additional 4.2 million funding will be available for Hounslow. And the final one that we've been campaigning from day one, we will be fighting this hard Brexit, because we believe it's important to stay in the single market. We also believe that we need to safeguard all European nationals that have been living here, who have taken this country as their home. So this is our chance to change the direction of the country. We will, rest assured, fight this hard Brexit.
Thank you very much for spending the time with us today, and I wish you all the best for June the 8th. Thank you.
Okay, so this was Hina Malik from Lib Dems, and she's running from Feltham Heston. Well, before we talk about what she said, she's a teacher herself, and she's talking about education, and NHS is one of the main agendas. But at the moment, we have a caller, so let's bring a caller online. Hello?
Hello, hi, how are you?
Hi there, yes, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm very fine. Thank you very much for your program, Southall TV, and thank you very much, Mr. ROWDY FAROOQI and NAMRATA DHINGRA. I'm quite delighted you're doing such a program.
Thank you very much. And can you please introduce yourself to our audience so they know who you are and what your background is?
My name is Juliet Makapila, and I'm a community leader or community innovator, but I see myself more of a transformer. I'm also a Lib Dem Democrat member, and I'm also the diversity champion for the Lib Dem and sitting down on the London Region Conference, London Region Executive.
Okay, so you just you were watching the program, right? So
yes.
You just heard Hina Malik talking about her policies and her pledges. So basically, one thing which I noticed very importantly on her interview is that she's talking about her representing her community. So what makes you kind of go towards the Lib Dem policies and towards Lib Dem?
Thank you so much for that question, ROWDY FAROOQI. What makes me like and favor the Lib Dem party as an African compared to other parties is, first of all, I feel that liberal Democrats are inclusive and welcoming. What do I mean by that? every single time we see them talk about Britain to be tolerant and open and united, and also internationally they care about Africa and other places. So they're talking about the pro-EU, and so I feel that they care about Europe. For that very reason, I feel very proactive with them. They are the only major party that have stood by their word, and I feel that I'm quite delighted to be part of them. The other thing that I care about as an African person is my well-being within the party.
Absolutely.
And I feel that they are the only one major party that have openly translated how they would be looking at the health and the NHS. So they have made it quite clear and where their stand is. They have spoken about the 1p increase on helping to save the NHS. And I think that's a better way approach in terms of how else do you get everybody at the equal space. We see so many NHS privatization and stuff like that. Do I really want to go private in terms of me going in and getting charged all different prices in the NHS? So I think we better question ourselves from the bottom of our heart. Yeah.
Okay, so Juliet, one thing actually, as you mentioned that you think that the Liberal Democrat is the only one of, I mean, from the major parties, the only party which is very open to getting other communities and other point of views within their own structure. And Hina Malik said something like this as well. But isn't it a kind of a recent thing that that happening now in this election, or do you think it was like that before as well?
I think that the song or you can just see, sometimes I think when we analyze things, we can see what they speak about, and that is important. And when you listen, they're the party that says Britain now needs more to be open and transparent, to be open and more tolerant. So for me, as a migrant and an African woman in this country, I think that's quite attractive to me, because that means that they're saying everybody needs to be open and tolerant, and I think that's really inclusive for everybody. I think that if we look at what is happening in Britain today, where we have a very high Brexit attitude, which is taking us a different direction, I think we need to be quite careful with whom we are really voting. And I really kindly, personally favor the Lib Dem at the moment, because I feel their stand is quite positioned in a way of saying it is now or never, So I personally would have more drawn into an open, tolerant society. And yes, I hear both sides, but I feel that if you see, like, for example, other parties criticizing, we've had someone like the UKIP saying that even international aid should be cut. Surely, I mean, if aid is cut in 54 African countries, surely, the little money that goes to cap down the social inequality that we've got for all these countries, whereas someone, I commented last week and I said, people forget that this United Kingdom was built by the efforts of migrants, and if we're giving back to other nations, that is very important. So the little money that is being shared, or you would say is being distributed, very little percentage. It's nothing compared to nothing of what you can expect. And then look at the contribution that migrants really make in this country. It's very important for us to acknowledge that. And who are the best people who are fighting for these democratic values that we are sort of speaking for? I'm not going to say that any other party is standing proactive and saying we need to stay in the EU. The position is straight.
Yeah, Juliet, I basically on this point, I think what I understand here, you were talking about that who's better to actually put these points across than the migrant people themselves. And this brings me to the point we were just talking just earlier, that now I'm seeing this, especially in this election, this an awareness of in communities to have their own representation in parliament. So what do you think about that? UKIP, Liberal Democrats are actually open to this idea, or and if they are, then what do you think in realistic terms, that what are the pros and cons of this idea that people actually from every independent individual communities representing themselves, their own communities in parliament?
I believe in good democracy personally, and I believe that if we are to really look at all political parties at this time, I think all of them have got room to improve. And if we're talking on a matter of diversity or promoting diversity, I think that there is room for improvement, equally with promoting gender, and that's across the whole world, I think, in terms of looking at how women are sort of like contributing towards political leadership and stuff like that. But again, I come back to the same issues. What are the Africans or the Indian people doing to get more involved in their own political parties or careers that they choose? What paths are you choosing? We just sit down there and moan. And I think that is the question that I would be asking more voters to sort of like register by tomorrow, 22nd, because if you don't then register and then vote, which is tomorrow, which is the deadline, and then we come back and we are saying that we are not represented, I think sometimes we also have to take our own responsibility.
Absolutely.
So if you're asking me about improving our political parties, I think there is room for improvement in all political parties. But if you're asking me specifically if black people or Africans or whatever should set up their own political party if they feel underrepresented, I think that's also something for discussion. But I think that...
Okay, that's a good point, actually, that this is something which can be discussed, and this is something which the communities should decide among themselves. That's a very brilliant point, and Juliet, I'm very, very thankful for you to take part in the program, and especially the one thing which you mentioned, which I was going to mention kind of at the end of the program, but you have brought it up, which is that tomorrow is the basically deadline to register for votes. Anyone who hasn't done that, please do so, because as Juliet just said, if you not registered to vote, if you don't vote, then you have no right to complain afterwards.
This is just the postal vote, right, for clarity. This is only about the postal vote, but the those who are going to the polling stations.
So that you're able to vote on the 8th. And if you don't know how to do, just go to your local council, just give them a call on your local council, or go to the government's website, and that should give you, it's just like a form for 3 minutes, and you've got until tomorrow. Let's say don't leave it until 12 o'clock, but you've got until 11:59. So please try and register before 11 o'clock tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Juliet, for calling in.
And thank you very much to London, your program. I'm really delighted to be in your program, Juliet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, that was Juliet, and I think it was an interesting point she's raised. And again, I totally agree to this, that if you can't bother to get up and go and register and vote, then you can't moan either, and which is I think a lot of our community does in a way.
That's right.
Especially youngsters, because it is sort of very funny actually. I think there's a presenter who actually does these off takes and his crew posts on Facebook, and even though it was a kind of a mock, but the point was very valid, that especially our youth, they just not bothered. They think, oh, whatever, right? But that's very important, that we should everyone should vote. But before actually we go ahead, I mean, I'm going to bring you that point, but let me quickly mention Kirt Raj Singh, Rahul Rahim Puria, Pam Dinsa, Aftar, Rania Tara, or Ubbi Ramgadia would like to our program. They're watching, so thanks for joining. And if you have any comments, please go ahead and do that, because then we can respond to it straight away as the program goes on. However, if you just feel like just listening to the program and watching the program and don't feel like commenting, then basically you can comment later on. And Anwar Ahmed Javed, actually he's watching from Saudi Arabia. and he's saying nice setup. Thank you very much.
I just want to go back to the point on immigration, because that's a very valid point, and I know the time constraints are there as well. The Tories on this, they are saying that they are going to increase earning thresholds for those wishing to sponsor migrants for family visas. Now, as you can see, the Conservatives on immigration policy and Liberal Democrats, already Juliet explained to us, and the Labour, what they are trying to do is they want to reject bogus immigrants. So everybody has got a different agenda here again. So I would say that...
So I think this is something issue we cannot cover in last 5 minutes. So I think we're going to carry on this next episode, next Sunday, 6 o'clock. But before we go, we have one more video to play. Hina Malik from Lib Dems running from Feltham and Heston. But last week, we actually, Sarah Santosh, again, our presenter, she met and talked to Seema Malhotra, who, again, is being Feltham and Heston MP for last 2 terms, and it's the 3rd time I think she's running, sorry if I'm wrong. But yeah, she's been around for some time in the game, and she's very well liked, I have to say, in the community, and the work she's done in Feltham, a lot of people actually kind of acknowledge that as well. And now she's talking about Cranford. So let's see what she has to say about her policies and her pledges, what she is aiming to do, because she is kind of going head to head like these 2 women from Feltham, Heston, and see. I mean, of course, the 8th June will decide what exactly happened, who exactly succeeds. But here's Seema Malhotra on her policies and pledges.
So today I'm here with Seema Malhotra, the MP for the Feltham and Heston constituency. I just have a couple of questions to ask you. So what are your key policies within your constituency in preparation for the general election in June?
I think it is very important that people vote Labour on June the 8th. And the reason why for my constituency, firstly, I would start with education, because a campaign that we've been doing over the last 6 months has been to call on the government to reverse the cuts to school spending. So children's education is being cut by 8% at a time when the government has also reduced corporation tax for the most wealthy. And what the government has lost in terms of revenues dwarfs that they have cut from school funding. So I believe firstly we've got to put our children and our young people centre stage, because they are the ones who are going to be the future workforce in our community. Secondly, I want to see a facelift for our constituency. Last campaign I called for the Feltham Master Plan, which is now underway, consulting with residents about the future of Feltham, the future of Feltham arenas, how we make sure that it's a family-friendly and business-friendly environment in our area. I am now today also calling for there to be a Cranford plan for the future, because Cranford needs a facelift. It's the gateway from Heathrow to London, and people tell me that they lose pride in their streets when they see litter, there's antisocial behaviour, we've had our policing cut, and that's Theresa May that oversaw the cuts to our policing. So on those issues, on housing as well, and support for enterprise and small businesses, our community needs to say we stand tall, and we stand to say a future for our community is what we want, that is united, recognises and respects our diversity, works with people of all faiths and backgrounds, and seeks to see prosperity for all. Well, I said this before about our Labour Party, which is that we need to move forward in a way that's united. And one thing I will say is that the manifesto that was, in a sense, out there in the public this week, though it was in draft form and it will be formally launched, has had ideas that have resonated with the public, and the polls have shown that. And I have said before as well that some of the ideas that Jeremy has come out with and come up with, like our National Education Service, from the cradle to the grave, has been really important for an area like Feltham and Heston as well. Young people, and restoring their education maintenance allowance so that they can stay on after school, making sure that tuition fees are reduced as far as we possibly can, making sure that you've got adult education that's accessible, adults who lose their jobs having the chance to retrain. Those are the ladders to prosperity, the actual ladders to prosperity that the government has pulled away from people with the cuts that they have chosen to make. So on those issues, and the fact that I grew up in this area. I grew up in Feltham, I grew up in Osterley, I live in Heston. I was born in Hammersmith. I went to Heston Primary School. My mum taught at Heston Primary School. Those are the things that make you feel rooted and connected with the community. We are here to talk about a future for our community that is bright and prosperous, and a future for our nation that is outward looking. On those issues, I think Jeremy trumps Theresa May any day.
Finally, sort of a final question. There were these sort of local elections outside of London, and unfortunately Labour didn't do too well. They did lose a lot of their seats. So how confident are you that you can retain the current seat of Feltham and Heston?
The results were indeed disappointing, and they do show the challenges that we face as the Labour Party. I think that very much people will look at the detail of the proposals that we're coming up with. People will say, is this really going to be a blank cheque for Theresa May that they give on June the 8th? Is it really going to be that we vote for 5 more years of Conservative cuts where they don't tell the truth about what's going? Is it really going to be 5 more years of what we've seen with tax credit cuts as well, where families told me just yesterday when I was out in the constituency the impact that universal credit is having on their ability to plan their household budgets, make sure they can even provide food, and the way that that is now leading them to go to food banks. People who have had the dignity of being able to buy food for their families now going to food banks because of the way the government has changed their support for people in work. I don't think that that is right. People are going to say, do we want to give Theresa May that blank cheque and a large majority? And they will wake up when they go to the polls on June the 8th, I believe, and say that won't be right for our country, for our prosperity, for fairness, for equality. And I believe that people will say we should vote for the Labour Party.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, and all the best for the elections on June the 8th. Thank you.
Okay, so this was Seema Malhotra, and of course she's been MP for Feltham and Heston for some time, and she's talking about when she, especially last time when she was running, her bigger part of her agenda was to get Feltham, make a nice place, nice neighborhood where people is family friendly and business friendly, and now she's talking about doing the same sort of thing for Cranford, which is, as she mentioned herself, that kind of gateway to Heathrow, and of course a lot of Asian community and people from Southall and West London work at Heathrow, so that's
she's got
quite a pleasure, I think.
Yeah, but a big agenda as well, which she's got to do. If she wins the parliamentary seat, then she has to come up with all
I mean,
these
of course,
things.
and the NHS and the education, because as you mentioned in this video as well, that education is higher on their agenda. As I think all Labour candidates are talking about education and housing and NHS. So, but anyway, so I think we'll discuss a little bit more next week, because we already run over a little bit. But I think it's okay, because first of all, I think started 1 minute late anyway today. But good thing about being live on our own channel and our own, that if we get delayed 1 minute, then we can compensate for it by staying on for another couple of minutes. But the idea is to actually give the message out. So now you've heard Dr. Fabio Conti, you've heard from Virendra Sharma, you've heard from Seema Malhotra and Hina Malik, two from Southall and Ealing area going head to head, and other two from Feltham and Heston. Next week we'll try to bring you from Brentford, Isleworth, that sort of locality, and Ealing if we can. So, but I think next week we'll try to bring you some public opinions as well, what local businessmen are talking about, and what because when we went to interview Seema Malhotra, there were a lot of people around, and so we talked to Sara Santosh, actually, I'm saying we, taking credit for her, but Sara Santosh talked to some local businessmen there as well, and asked them why they support, who they support, and I think we're going to do and find out a little bit more of local people who are supporting any other parties, Conservatives, and so we asked them why they're supporting, who they're supporting. So I think it'll be a nice
It'll be interesting, yes.
See what politicians are saying and what
the public has to say as well. So it'll have a good. Okay, I think we've come to the end of our time. I'd like to say thank you to my host today, Rowdy Farooqi, for being such a wonderful host. It's always a pleasure to co-host with him. From our West London studios, thank you to the Director of Programs of Southall TV, and thank you to all our viewers who are watching this program. Please keep your comments coming in, sponsorships, or any kind of other, you want to know something, you can email Rowdy directly or the producers of the program. All the information is on southalltv.com or on the Facebook pages. So on that note, I would like to say thank you very much, Rowdy. It was a very good interview.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
क्या आप वक्त को अपनी नजरों के सामने गुजरते हुए देखते हुए परेशान हैं? क्या आपके पास कोई ऐसे सवाल है जिनका आपके पास जवाब मौजूद नहीं है, या आप ऐसा वक्त गुजारना चाहते हैं जहां पे आपको जिंदगी का नजरिया अलग अलग तरीके से देखने को मिले? तो घबराइए मत, क्योंकि हम आ रहे हैं एवरी ट्यूसडे टू थर्सडे बिटवीन 10 AM and 11 AM ओनली ऑन साउथहॉल TV ऑन आवर वेरी ओन शो उठो जागो जियो, यानी कि वेक अप, गेट अप एंड लिव अप विद सिडो जाफरी, जहां पे हर ट्यूसडे को हम टाइम और अबंडेंस पे बात करेंगे, हर वेडनेसडे को हम पावर और ब्यूटी, और हर थर्सडे लव एंड हीलिंग. Every week we come together with our guests, providing you creative, constructive and nourishing solutions for your lives. So get up and subscribe to southalltv.com so you never miss another episode of Utho Jago Jio with Siddhu Jaffrey.